All right, let's talk about a word that's at the very heart of teaching, but honestly can cause a lot of confusion: assessment. It's so central to what we do, but what does it all really mean? Today, we're going to demystify it. We're going to break down the essential language that can totally transform how we think about our students' learning.
But first, let me ask you something. Just think for a second. The last time you heard the word test, what was your gut reaction? How did that one little word make you feel?
Yeah, if you're like most of us, it probably triggered something, right? Maybe your heart started beating a little faster, you got that knot of nervousness in your stomach, or even just a little bit of dread. That word has so much power, and today our goal is to take that power back by really getting to the why behind it all.
And it all starts with having the right language. Because, when we can speak clearly about what we're doing and why, that's when the real work can begin, making the whole experience better, fairer, and way more useful for our students.
Okay, so let's jump right in with the first big question. We hear assessment and testing thrown around all the time, sometimes like they're the same thing, but are they?
Well, the short answer is nope, not at all. Think of it this way. Assessment is the entire journey. It's the whole big process of gathering information to figure out where a student is. A test, that's just one tool we use on that journey. It's just a single snapshot in time.
A really great way to think about this is a visit to the doctor. The whole visit, from the moment you walk in and describe your symptoms to the final diagnosis, that whole thing is the assessment of your health. Now, the specific things the doctor does, like taking your temperature or running a blood test, those are the tests. They're just tools to inform that bigger assessment. See the difference? So the takeaway here is simple. Assessment is the big circle. It includes everything: homework, class participation, projects, you name it. And tests, they're just one small circle inside of that much, much bigger one. Okay, let's build on that idea. All right, next up we have measurement versus evaluation. Now these two get tangled up all the time, but they have really different jobs. So let's untangle them. What's the difference here?
Let's start with measurement. This part is super objective. It's just the numbers, the raw data. There's zero judgment involved. An exam score is 85 out of 100. A body temperature is 39 degrees Celsius. A race time is 50 seconds. These are just the facts.
Okay, but now watch what happens when we bring in evaluation. This is where we add meaning, a value judgment to that number. Suddenly, that 85 out of 100 becomes, hey, that's a good grade. That 39-degree temperature means, whoa, you have a high fever. And that 50-second race time, it means, sorry, you failed to qualify. Evaluation is what gives the number its significance. And this really highlights a critical two-step process for us as teachers. First, we measure, we get the score, the raw data, and then, and only then, do we evaluate. We step back and decide what that number actually means for that student's learning journey. This brings us to another really key distinction. In a classroom, it can sometimes feel like every little thing a student says or does is being graded. So, is everything a test? Well, let's break down the difference between formal and informal assessment. Think of it like this. On one side, you have informal assessment. This is stuff that's unplanned. It's natural. It happens right in the flow of learning. It's like practice. It's the coach giving a tip on the sidelines. On the other side, you have formal assessment. This is planned, it's structured, students know it's coming, and they prepare for it. This is the championship game. So what does this actually look like in a real classroom? Well, an informal assessment could be as simple as hearing a student say, "I go yesterday," and you quickly say, "Oh, you mean went?" Or even just giving praise like, "Excellent work, Sarah." A formal assessment is what we all picture: a weekly quiz, that big final project, or the end of unit presentation. Okay, deep breath, because we have arrived at what might be the single most important, game-changing concept we're going to talk about today: formative versus summative assessment. Getting this one right changes everything. And it all boils down to this one simple, powerful idea. It's not about the format. It doesn't matter if it's multiple choice or an essay or a project. The most important question you can ever ask is, why are you giving it? What is its purpose? And there's this fantastic analogy that just nails the difference. Formative assessment is the chef tasting the soup while it's still cooking. The chef tastes it to see, does it need more salt? The goal is to improve the final product. Summative assessment, that's the customer eating the soup once it's served. It's too late to make changes. The goal is simply to judge it. Is it good or bad?
So, to put it another way, just remember this. Formative is for forming and improving learning. Its whole purpose is to help students get better, and it happens during the learning process. Summative is for summarizing learning. Its purpose is to measure what was learned, and it happens at the end.
Okay, but wait a minute. That leads to a really good question. Can a single test be both? Can it be formative and summative?
And the answer is absolutely yes. And understanding this is so powerful. Here's how. Think about a midterm exam. On the one hand, it's definitely summative. It summarizes and gives a grade for everything you've learned in the first half of the course. But it's also brilliantly formative. Why? Because the results tell both the teacher and the student exactly what to work on for the second half of the course. It guides the next steps. And that, right there, is why all of this matters so much. When we, as teachers, really get this language, we change the entire conversation. We can move the whole narrative away from that fear and anxiety we talked about at the beginning and toward a feeling of empowerment for us and, way more importantly, for our students. So I'm going to leave you with this question to chew on. Now that you have this language, this deeper understanding of assessment versus testing, formative versus summative, how are you going to use it to change that dreaded test feeling for your students?